Hello everyone. Let's review shlokas 128 and 129 in Lalitha Sahasranamam. Sarvavedānta saṃvedyā satyānanda svarūpiṇī lopāmudrārchitā līlā klupta brahmāṇḍa maṇḍalā adṛśyā rahitā viGYātrī vedyavarjitā yoginī yogadā yogyā yogānanda yugandharā. Let's take a look at the meanings of the namas. The first nama here is sarvavedānta saṃvedyā. Sarva means all. Vedantam is Veda Antam. Veda is the Vedas, which is the source of all knowledge. Antam means end. So Vedantam means the end of Vedas. The end of Vedas is none other than Upanishads. So the Vedas are all preparing the individuals to receive the highest knowledge that is then imparted by Upanishads. So Vedantam is the Upanishads. Saṃvedyā. Sam means same. Vedya means to be regarded as or to be known as. So sarvavedānta saṃvedyā means all the Vedantas regard her in the same way, or she is regarded in the same way by all the Vedantas, which are the highest knowledge that is available. So how do all these Vedantas regard her? The answer is in the next nama, which is satyānanda svarūpiṇī. So she is satyānanda svarūpiṇī. Satyam means truth or true. Anandam means bliss, perfect happiness. Svarūpiṇī means embodiment. So she is the embodiment of perfect happiness or true happiness. Or you can look at it as she is the truth that brings happiness, or she is the happy truth. So she is the satyānanda svarūpiṇī. She is true happiness. Lopāmudrārchitā. Lopāmudrārchitā. Lopāmudra is the rishi of the Hadividya Panchadasi mantra. So as we all know, Panchadasi mantra is the 15-syllabled mantra that is a very potent mantra of Lalitambika or a Srividya mantra. Panchadasi mantra and Lalitambika are not different. It's simply the sound form of Lalitha. And in that there are 3 variations, and the variation called Hadividya is what Lopāmudra was able to perceive, and she gave it to the world. So she is Lopāmudra, who is the seer of the Hadividya. Lopāmudra is also the wife of sage Agastya. Archita means worshipped by. So she is worshipped by Lopāmudra, who is the rishi of Hadividya and wife of sage Agastya. Līlā klupta brahmāṇḍa maṇḍalā. Līlā means play, a sport, a child's play. Klupta means created or produced or arranged. Brahmāṇḍa. Brahmāṇḍam means universe. Brahma and cosmic egg. So universe. Maṇḍalā means multiple or group of. So līlā klupta brahmāṇḍa maṇḍalā means she created multiple universes like a sport, like a child's play. So the ultimate reality created all these, the entire creation for its own enjoyment. Its own will was the reason why it created, and it created for the purpose of its own enjoyment. And it was such an easy task for the ultimate reality, and just like a child's play, created multiple universes. Adṛśyā. Adṛśyā. A is a negation. Dṛśya means visible. Adṛśyā means invisible. So she is someone who is invisible to us, because our sense organs are limited. We can only see what can reflect light, but she does not have those kind of properties, and therefore we cannot see her. So if you think about it, Advaita Vedanta says the creator and the creation are one and the same. The creation is contained within the creator, but the creation is not able to see the creator. You're contained within. So for example, if we have a figure in our house, and let's say you have a wooden elephant, When we see that, we'll only see the elephant. We don't see the wood behind it, right? So that is the way of looking at something. Similarly, even though everything in this world is a manifestation of that ultimate reality, when we look at another thing, we are influenced by the form and its function. This is what we call as nama rupam. We are not able to transcend beyond it, and therefore we cannot see the creator. So adṛśyā, she is invisible. dṛśya rahitā. Dṛśya means visible, rahitā means devoid. So why can't we see her? We can't see her because she is devoid of any properties that make her visible. So for example, we are able to see something that has a form. We are able to see something that has a shape. We are able to see something that can reflect light. We can do all of that. So mostly physical things we are able to see. But she is beyond all of this. She does not have this form, function, limitations to time, space, etc. So we call her Shakti. She is energy, and energy is invisible to us. And even in the physical world, we can see a book, we can see a table. These are all physical objects, therefore we can see. But something more subtle than that, like electricity. Can you see electricity? It exists. We all know, because when we switch on, the light bulb turns on, and therefore we know there is electricity, but we can't see it. And similarly, she is subtle, and therefore she does not have these properties that make her visible for us. So dṛśya rahitā, she is transcending the visible. viGYātrī. viGYātrī means one who knows all. So someone who is omniscient. So she knows everything. How do you know that she knows everything? Because you can see based on the creation of this entire universe. We said, like electricity, the only way we can know electricity exists is by the effect of that electricity, which is the bulbs turning on, or there is all these appliances working. Similarly, how do we know that she exists and she knows all? Because of the universe that she has created. Look at this universe, so many thousands of species, and everything has its own characteristics. It has a way of coming into life, it has a way of sustaining itself, it has a way of reproducing. All of that is created by her. And also look at all the seasons, right? Who created that order? It is in perfect order. There are certain trees that will come only in certain places. There are certain flowers that will bloom only in a certain place. So this perfection, this order is something that she has created. And in order to create that, she has to know everything. And therefore she is viGYātrī. And that is also the way through which we can get to know her, by the effect of what she has created. Vedyavarjitā. Two ways to look at it. Vedya means to learn. Varjitā means devoid of. So she has nothing more to learn. She is viGYātrī, someone who knows all, and she is vedyavarjitā, someone who has nothing more to learn. Another way to look at it is, she is viGYātrī, someone who knows all. Vedyavarjitā means there is no way for us to know her. So she is invisible, and so someone who cannot be seen, and she is also vedyavarjitā, someone who cannot be known. So the only way we are left to understand that she exists is by looking at the creation or the universe that she has created, and we also lack the ability to perceive her through that, because we are also taken by all this form and function. So then, how do we get to know her? The next one tells us yoginī. She is in the form of yoga. Yoga means union. Union with her is the only way to get to know her. Becoming part of her is the only way to get to know her. So in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, he says that yogas chitta vritti nirodha. So what is yoga? Yoga means union, but yoga, he is defining it as chitta vritti nirodha. Chittam means the sense organs and mind together. So you can think of chittam in that way. And vritti means ripples or waves. Nirodha means to remove. So the yoga, or the practice of yoga, will remove the ripples of our mind stuff, which is nothing but stilling our mind. All these thoughts can be stilled. So why is he saying that yoga should be chitta vritti nirodha? To what end? What does it help when our mind gets still? So Adi Shankaracharya says in Bhajagovindam, Sendriya manasa niyama devam dṛśyasi nija hridayastam devam. Only by disciplining our sense organs and mind can we come to see the Lord who's residing in our hearts. So we are all manifested form of ultimate reality, but we are not able to know that because we see things as form and function. We are not capable of experiencing or perceiving the subtlety, and therefore by stilling our mind we can become free from all these perceptions, and then we can come to connect with that ultimate reality. And she is in that form of yoga. So yoginī she is in the form of yoga. Yogadā, yogam again is that union. Da means bestower. She is someone who's capable of bestowing that yoga. You can think of it as bestowing the ability to unite or bestowing the desire to unite. Both of those could be yogadā. Yogyā. Yogyā means one who is the object of the yoga. So what is yoga helping to do? By stilling our mind, we are able to go connect with the ultimate reality, or the Parabrahman, or the Paramatma. The Jivatma and Paramatma can unite, or the soul can experience itself, or the spirit can experience itself. And so the whole purpose of yoga is to unite with that ultimate reality. And she is that yogyā. She is that ultimate reality with whom we are wanting to unite through yoga. Yogānanda. Yogānanda. Yogam is that union. Anandam is bliss. So she is the bliss that is received through that union, or she is the result of that yoga. So she is the object of the yoga. She is the result of the yoga. She is the yoga, and she is the one who can make us want to attain that, or one who can grant us that union. Yugandharā. Two ways to look at it. Yugam can be the yoke. And if you think about yoke, if a carriage, two horses are pulling the carriage, there is something that connects both of that, right? So that makes sure that the two horses are going in sync. Or in a bullock cart, the two bulls are going in sync. In Tamil, it's called as nugattadi. So she is the yoke. So she is the connection. And dhara means bearer of the yoke. So you can see union yoga is nothing but the Jivatma wanting to connect with the Paramatma. That connection itself is her. So she is the bearer of that connection. That is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is yugam is a period of time. So we'll say Chatur Yugam. So there are 4 yugas, and Yugam is also connecting generations. So she is the bearer of the ages. That is another way to look at it. So with that, we have looked at all the meanings of the namas in these 2 shlokas. Let's look at a story related to the nama lopāmudrārchitā. So we said Lopāmudra is the wife of sage Agastya, and she is the one who is the preceptor of Hadi Vidya. So we'll look at a story related to Lopāmudra and sage Agastya. So once sage Agastya went to heaven, and he saw a few people who were hanging upside down in the heaven. And so he was curious, and so he went to them and said, "Who are you all? Why are you hanging upside down?" And they all told sage Agastya, "We are your ancestors. We are hanging upside down because we are supposed to go to hell, or it is almost time for us to go to hell." Now that they said they are sage Agastya's ancestors, he said, "You're my ancestors. Why are you going to hell? What happened?" And then they said, "We are going to hell all because of you." And he was really shocked. He thought, "What did I do that made this happen?" And he said, "No, the ancestors said, every generation is supposed to give a heir so that the generation can continue, or the lineage can continue. But you have not produced any children. You don't have a son. And that's why they've hung us upside down, so we are all prepared, or they're readying us to go to hell. So Sage Agastya was shocked to know that him not marrying and not having a child is having a impact on his ancestors, and everybody has to repay the debt for their ancestors, and man does that by giving birth to a son. So now Sage Agastya has to marry so that he can have a son. And so he decides to go look for a bride. And Sage Agastya is a liberated soul. And he is someone who has done a lot of penance, and he is a realized, enlightened person. And he's working with a sole mission of ensuring that all the human beings are relieved from their suffering. Because if you remember, even in how he came to know about Lalitha Sahasranama, he was doing a pilgrimage. He went all over and he saw how people were so caught up in the materialistic pleasures, and they were pursuing all these materialistic pleasures thinking that it's bringing them happiness, but that is the sole reason for them to suffer, and their mind and their sense organs are leading them towards the path of suffering. So he is working to make sure somehow all these people will have some path through which they can be liberated. So that is his mission. He is also a siddhar. So siddhars all work with, they find new medicines, they invent, they look at all the herbs, and based on that they prepare medicines that also bring health. So his mission is always to somehow bring liberation to all the masses, give them a path for that. So when someone is on a mission like that, he needs a spouse who can help him in that mission. So he does not want any ordinary person who will expect the regular things in life. He is not able to provide that. So after some search, Sage Agastya decided that he will create his own spouse, and therefore with his powers he creates this baby. And at that time there was a king of Vidarbha who was eager to have a child, and therefore Sage Agastya went to this king of Vidarbha and gave the child and said, you please raise her, when the time is right I'll come and marry her. So the king of Vidarbha named her Lopāmudrā, and Lopāmudrā grew up as the princess. And she was very beautiful, she was very kind, she was very intelligent, and so lots of good things. Obviously, she's created by Sage Agastya, so she is way above all the normal princesses that you can see. And king of Vidarbha was actually very proud of his daughter. And the time was right, and now Sage Agastya has come back. Lopāmudrā has become, of marriageable age, and therefore now he wants to come and marry Lopāmudrā, because he has to go, repay that debt. He has to have a son so that his ancestors won't go to hell. And when Sage Agastya came back and asked king of Vidarbha for Lopāmudrā's hand, the king was not very happy. He has grown so attached to this princess, and he feels like she was gently raised in a palace, and Sage Agastya is a renowned sage, rishi. He does so many things and he's always on the move. He did not think his daughter can manage all of that. And but he also cannot say no, because already when he gave the baby itself, Sage Agastya said, I will come at the right time and marry. So he thinks hard, and Lopāmudrā is fine. She wants to marry Sage Agastya because she knew that already. But the king is not very happy. So the king says, you know what, I'll let you marry my daughter, but my daughter has been raised very gently. And if you are able to bring all the comforts that she has today, and you're able to provide for all of that, then I will allow you to marry her. But Sage Agastya is a rishi. They all live in some ashram, and there is like hut, and they don't have any comforts. In fact, their life is all about letting go of those comforts so that they can become enlightened. Is clearly not able to provide that, but now the bride's father has set this as his solution for, or a goal for him to meet so that he can marry Lopāmudrā. So Sage Agastya says, okay, fine, I'll go get the required money so that your daughter can live comfortably. And so he goes to a few kings that he knows, and he wants to get some money so that he can provide for a good life for Lopāmudrā. Lot of these kings are totally willing to give that money to Sage Agastya, but Sage Agastya is one who's working for the welfare of the community, right? So when he goes to ask all of this, he realizes that those kings will definitely give the money from their treasury, but if he didn't take that money, that would have gone for the welfare of the subjects. So everybody else would have benefited. So now Sage Agastya does not want to take money for his own well-being or for his own purposes, depriving other people of good things that they might get. So now he is in a fix, because every king who's just, who's doing his thing, will always be using that money for doing welfare. So whomever he knew, he couldn't go to them, because that always meant depriving. They all said, no, don't worry, you're an enlightened soul, giving money to you is great. But Sage Agastya wanted to make sure he'll only take money from someone who's not using it for the welfare of others. So at that time, he comes to know about a demon called Ilvala. And he's a demon king, and Ilvala has a brother called Vatapi. So this Ilvala and Vatapi are asuras, and obviously as asuras, they weren't concerned about the well-being of anybody. They just did everything for their own power and their own fun. And so everybody said, why don't you ask Ilvala? He does not do any charity. He does not do anything good for his subjects. So he has a lot of money. If you get money from him, then you would not have deprived anybody else of, anything. And you will also get the money to go marry Lopāmudrā. So Sage Agastya went to Ilvala. And Ilvala had a brother called Vatapi. And Ilvala and Vatapi did not like sages. They especially hated sages. And it was their common practice. What they would do is they will invite sages to their palace. And Ilvala and Vatapi both had magical powers. Vatapi would turn into a goat, and then Ilvala would cut him up into pieces, and he will cook and he will serve that food to the saints or sages who are visiting his palace. And after the sage eats that, Ilvala knew Sanjeevani mantra. So immediately, using Sanjeevani mantra, he will call Vatapi. And Vatapi is now inside the sage's stomach. So Vatapi will tear open the sage's stomach and will come out. And that way the sage will die. So this was their favorite pastime. Every time using this mantra, they will do this. And Ilvala and Vatapi did not like any of the saints and sages, and because of that nobody would also go there. You may be wondering, saints and sages do not eat meat. Why would they eat meat? Actually only after this episode they stopped eating meat, and that time it is said that they all ate the meat. So Sage Agastya went there, and Sage Agastya did not know about all of this. And when Sage Agastya went and asked him for money, Ilvala was very happy. Now someone voluntarily came, so he's going to have fun. As usual, he cut Vatapi. Vatapi turned into a goat. He cut Vatapi into multiple pieces. They made a good dish using that goat flesh, and that was served to Sage Agastya. But as soon as Sage Agastya ate it, he became aware that what he ate was not the normal thing. So Sage Agastya quickly realized, he is an enlightened soul, he quickly realized. So he just touched his tummy and he said, Vatapi jirno bhava. So Vatapi jirno bhava means be digested. So then Sage Agastya digested all the food and he just burped. And now Ilvala, for his part, now is using the Sanjeevani mantra and he's saying, Vatapi, come out. Nothing was coming out, and Sage Agastya just belched. So only air came out, nothing came out. And then Ilvala is shocked. He's thinking, how come Vatapi is not coming out? And then Sage Agastya told him, you did this, I realized it. So now your brother Vatapi is dead now. So then Ilvala realizes, he is very sad. He realizes, but he also understands that the power of someone like Sage Agastya, and therefore he gives the money that Sage Agastya asked him for. and sage Agastya was able to give that to the king of Vidarbha, and then he married Lopāmudrā. And Lopāmudrā is one who assisted sage Agastya in everything. And sage Agastya's one of the important missions that he had was that he wanted to make sure somehow people will be liberated from all the suffering. So in those days, only men learnt all the Vedas. So the women and children were left behind. Only after a certain age, children could go learn. So he always wanted to see how is it that you could go help everybody. And as we all know, sage Agastya was given Lalita Sahasranama by Hayagriva. So sage Agastya also taught that to Lopāmudrā, and Lopāmudrā was the one who initiated this Lalita Sahasranamam chanting by all the women. So she taught that to everybody, and you can see she is a princess and she is also a wife of a sage, which is a perfect combination. And it said that all the women started learning from her. So Lopāmudrā is not just a preceptor of a Hadi Vidya and a wife of a great sage, but she's also the one who started this chanting of Lalita Sahasranama by all the women. So in that, she is a model, or she's one who advanced women into all of this learning. So today, Lalita Sahasranamam is chanted by many women, and it's something that women really consider as awarding them saubhagyam. So Lopāmudrā was instrumental in getting this kind of chanting, and all these chanting allow for people to direct their senses towards the ultimate reality. And when we direct our senses and surrender our senses to Lalitambika, then she's one who will take us in the right path, because she has the noose in her head, right? Pasham and Angusham. With that, she will direct us to the right path, and that allows for women and some children to be able to create that vairagyam or detachment, which allows them to reduce the suffering. So another important thing about Lopāmudrā is that sage Agastya, even after Hayagriva told him all about Lalita Sahasranama, always felt like there was something that was missing, that Hayagriva was not telling him. And so sage Agastya asked Hayagriva, is this something that you're not telling me? I feel like something is lacking. Can you please tell me what it is? And Hayagriva said, no, there is nothing lacking. But actually, if you see, he was holding back something. So there is a very powerful stotra called Lalita Trishati. Trishati means 300. So there are 300 verses that are supposed to be the ultimate secret. And if you look at it, the Trishati, the 300, comes from, we said Panchadasi, right? Panchadasi has 15 syllables, and the Trishati, all the namas will start with one of the Panchadasi syllables. So it is said that for each syllable in Panchadasi, there are 20 namas. So 15 times 20 is 300. So it is considered as the extreme secret. And Lalitha had told sage Hayagriva that you cannot say this to anybody without my permission. If somebody has to know Lalita Trishati, only if I give permission, they should be able to know about it. So it was guarded in an extremely secretive way. So sage Hayagriva did not have the permission to just like that tell sage Agastya about Lalita Trishati. And it is said that that night Lalitha herself came in sage Hayagriva's dream, and she said, sage Agastya is the husband of Lopāmudrā, and Lopāmudrā is one of my devotees. She is practicing, she is very, very devoted to me, and because he is her husband, it is okay for you to tell Lalita Trishati to sage Agastya. So Lopāmudrā, she's created by sage Agastya, and sage Agastya is enlightened soul, and we know so many great things about sage Agastya. And Lopāmudrā was that devoted to Devi, and sage Agastya got Lalita Trishati from sage Hayagriva because of Lopāmudra's devotion. So Lopāmudrā is the wife of sage Agastya, and they were married for a long time. and they had a son, and with that, the ancestors' curse was also lifted. That's all for today.